without further ado, my name is Steve Engel. I'm the Alliances and ISV Manager here at Bass, and I've been joined today by Jonathon Barnett from Yooz. Jonathan, welcome.
Hey, Steve, thanks for having us.
Fantastic. Glad you could make it.
Thanks.
Jonathan, I was gonna say, so I've known Yooz for I guess the past 5 years now.
Yep.
And I was wondering for those that aren't as familiar with Yooz, if you could just kind of tell us a little bit about the company and the mission that you guys are on.
Yeah, happy to. Yooz started off actually on-prem about 40 years ago, transitioned to the cloud in 2010, grown quite a bit, over 5,000 clients globally in 44 plus countries. We are in the United States, but we do have, if you're in Canada, your information is stored in Canada and Canadian banks as well. Um, we integrate with well over 250 ERPs. And what you see on the screen here is kind of a overall process of how Yooz operates in a nutshell. So if you're using purchase orders, great, we can integrate from your ERP, or if you're doing it manually, we can do those inside of Yooz as well. Those can have a workflow from there. The way Yooz works and the way we operate, a lot of AI, machine learning from there. And so once invoices come in, they'll automatically match to that PO or partial match, or maybe have some discrepancies, and then it goes on a workflow from there. And then the great thing about Yooz is we can make those payments for you um, in Canadian or in the US from there. And then we also have a no-touch workflow, so we can really automate that process from start to finish, which is really nice. So really configurable for all clients, and we kind of know every situation. So
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So I think now that everyone's got a little bit better understanding of use and how you can help streamline the AI process, let's take a look now and get some feedback and see
oh yes.
what everyone's big challenges are facing AP today. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to launch our poll here. Yeah. So it looks like yeah, definitely looks like manual data entry was kind of the runaway answer there. So
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. So Jonathan, I'm curious, how does that align with what you see when you're out talking to clients?
Yeah, great question. So, yeah, I've seen every almost well, majority of people, I would say about 90% is manual entry, right? So it's manually from either if they don't have a centralized email to maybe everything is in email to manually keying things in to lost documents to fraud documents to I've kind of seen it all, especially with that manual entry. There's a lot of risk that goes in with that more than people think. So.
Yeah. And how have you seen that AP automation kind of evolve in the past couple of years now?
Yeah, another great question. So in the 5 years I've been here at Use, it's evolved. The AP automation has evolved quite a bit. So now the real-time visibility, with us, we have a lot of AI, machine learning
A
that
bit of
actually
a bit
picks up.
that evolution.
Yeah, yeah. So the AI and machine learning is really picking up and reading that stuff and helping with getting rid of 75% of manually entering those invoices in to the systems. So it's been it's been evolving quite a bit. And it's just growing from here, especially here at Use. We're growing quite a bit with new technologies and new things, new products. Yeah. So future trends that I am seeing, especially with financial leaders and everybody else, is a lot of fraud risk, right? So how's fraud, not getting through a system with Use? We have a whole new fraud use protect area that we've actually done a lot of. Our system is evolved, and it does, picks up metadata and a bunch of other things to make sure that fraud invoices, even from the current vendors, is because everybody's trying to get things through a system, will pick those up and detect fraud. Going from that to also, I know we talked about manual entering, but real-time data, right? How is that going, and arming the team with Use? We also have budgets and real-time payments too as well. That is really arming and helping out a lot of clients, cutting a lot of their costs down to around 75%, allowing their team and managers to focus more on other tasks and more revenue-driven items from there. So
Yeah. So I wonder, you mentioned, fraud detection is one of those things. I'm wondering, I mean, if you could maybe just touch on a little more of how AI and machine learning is being used in the AP process.
Um, yeah. So with AI machine learning, there's a lot of evolving. So with at use, and I don't know about everybody else because not everybody uses AI machine learning. Our system has been growing since 2010 in that in that space, and so evolving, and then also with those system, it's learning habits and learning coding habits, and just really evolving and improving that AP space, so that when the AP people are coming in and using a product like Yooz, they're able to just review or maybe put into kind of a no touch, what we call it, automated process, so that it comes in, automatically does its thing, and then pushes through. So AI is really kind of or machine learning is really kind of pushing the future a lot in the AP space, helping out the team get rid of that manual entry. And with manual entry, there are some mistakes, so really eliminating mistakes too as well.
That's great. Yeah. So I guess when when you're doing that automation, you're eliminating those mistakes, things
Mhm.
start to go a lot faster, and then you're, really into that real-time data and analytics. And I wonder if you could just speak a little bit of how that, that can really help people in their decision making.
Yeah, so when it's real time, it's actually right there at your fingertips. So say if it comes in, AP can see it right then, but then they need to send it to their manager or to the CFO, CEO, they can actually see right then and there where things are actually is at, right? So they can see like, hey, they can see an audit trail. Susie brought it in or Jimmy brought it in at a certain time and it's here, or maybe it's late, and then being able to notify them on top of that in real time, email. We also have an app too as well, so an app notification too, and then been able to look at stuff and pull reports as well, and seeing where the financials stack up at. We also have a real-time budgeting tool too as well. So if you put a budget against something, you can see real-time like, hey, this invoice came in for a few $100 and it's going against this $100,000. So then they can see real time where it's at, or if it goes over budget, right? You don't want to ever go over budget, but it does happen at time from time, and so then you can see, hey, this is over budget, we need to send this, we can't approve this, or we need to figure out other methods to get these funds from there. So the real-time data is nice and playing a key role for not only at Use but other products as well. So,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So I mean, I guess now for our audience, I mean, if they heard, like real-time data, that's great. Fraud detection, definitely, that's key these days. So I mean, just wondering, what are the other kind of cost savings and efficiencies that someone could expect if they're looking to implement a modern AP automation solution?
yeah. So we did a study with some friends of ours at Ardent Partners a while back, and they came out with, and I've seen this higher or lower, but it's seen around $11 average to process one single invoice. And then with coming on with AP, I've seen it drop down to $3, about a 75% savings overall. And that's, duplicate entries, fraud, also the manual mistakes, things getting lost in emails, stuck on people's desk. There's just a lot that's in there. Also, people don't really realize about printing off paper. So a lot of times when you're printing off paper, that's also another cost, along with ink, along with the printer, along with keeping up. So it's kind of a lot of different things. So it's quite a few efficiencies, and especially data storage. So sometimes people are storing either in filing cabinets or have another type of system that they're using to pay somebody to store all their electronic documents. And so there's just a lot that's there, um, with
Yeah.
savings, and with using it's stored for free. So
Yeah, I think that's great. And it's probably the paper and the toner, everything is probably one of those things that yeah, people maybe don't necessarily think about. Do you have any other examples, of companies that where you've worked with them and you've seen rapid ROI when they've implemented use?
yeah, actually, I do have a few. So um, client of ours was using. There's actually a few. So there's one that comes off the bat. They have 13 locations. But they're all separated out, right? So different locations, but they're AP centralized. And so but what they did was is they had everything manually paper, and so they would send it over in a PDF file. One one PDF file into, for like, I don't know, we'll say 100, 200 invoices, into that PDF to that, to their central location. When it got there, they had to manually go in and separate each one, manually type it into their Sage system. I believe they are using Intact, and so, but with our system, our AI tool can actually split that, each page within 30 seconds, and it saved them. The ROI was quite a bit from there. And then with our Sage integrations, it manually, I mean, sorry, manually, automatically went into the Sage, in their Sage Intact instance, also along with the image in Audit Trail too as well. That's one example, and then there's quite a few other ones that I can have off the top of my head. But just manually, I mean, get rid of the manual entry and saving about 68 to 80%, if not more, um, right off the bat within 3 to
Yeah,
6 months pretty quickly, which is nice.
that's amazing ROI.
Yeah.
And I guess I mean the key with any tool, the ROI is there, but how do you to ensure that you get that ROI? I think implementation is key. And I wonder if maybe you could just mention or talk to a little bit about some of maybe the common mistakes or pitfalls that people should look to avoid if they want to adopt a AP automation solution.
Yeah, so not always. You obviously you hope to get your whole team on board, right? So you have full adoption from all the team members, but every now and then that doesn't happen, right? So full adoption being one. If that does not happen, and there is some people that are resisting change, which is normal. I would say just start slow, right? You don't have to rip the full band-aid off, and some people like to rip it off, but when you do rip it off, maybe start slow. Don't recreate the wheel with this. Let this tool help your company evolve, right? So start off small, small adoption, and then grow from there. And great thing about Yooz, we grow when you grow, and so we like to kind of grow and evolve with you. And so don't just try to do everything at once. If you need to start slow, then you can from there. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's good advice. And yeah, so maybe just one kind of final question before we jump into the demo there. Um, what advice would you have for companies that are looking to start their AP automation journey or that digital transformation?
yeah, so I would say, obviously, do your due diligence. Look at a few different ones. We might seem the same, but we're all different in a few different ways. Make sure that it's tailored to your needs, to your company's needs. Approvals, no approvals, integration with your ERP, and then there was another one. And I kind of drew a blank. Maybe getting old, but quite, quite quite a few things that make sure that it fits your needs, and that is something
Yeah,
that you're looking for. And a lot of AI and smart data is going to be there too for adoption with the your team.
yeah, I,
So
I I think that's great advice. Yeah, I mean, definitely do that due diligence, take a look around, and like you say, I mean, at a surface level, it may all seem the same, but it's definitely not once you look at it. So,
yeah.
um, I think one of those differentiators that I'd love to take a look at, you know, we'll make you a presenter. Then, if you can maybe just walk us through some of the high level features that Use has to offer, I think would be great.
Yeah, I'd love to share my screen. Awesome. Perfect. So this is Yooz. A few things about us. Super secure, built off Microsoft Azure. You can also have this on your cell phone, tablet, and we have an app too as well, so you can have it on the go, which is kind of nice. If you are if you are in Canada and you would like to switch our platform over to a different language, which I just had mine in French, you can. We also speak Spanish too as well. So a few different options for you and your team to flip this over to another language. So let's log on in. Let's take a look. You will not see the screen. I'm associated with all my colleagues. We all have separate demos, and so that's why the screen pops up. If you have different organizations with different ERPs or maybe the same ERP, we'll have that all in one platform. While my system is loading, there we go. And so earlier I mentioned about the invoice coming in, that one invoice file for that one company, and it's splitting automatically into different invoices. So I actually brought in, so AP, my email, I forwarded over. And so now when it comes into Yooz, we can have it automatically come in from your AP email box, and it can split automatically those invoices. So we have a workflow in my demo. Some things stay here at the top. This is my to-do list. So this is everything to review and approve. And then down at the bottom, we have what are in progress. So now we can see where things are actually located here at the bottom. So we can see Amelia has some things, Aaron, Paige, etc., all the way down, which is kind of nice. And so inside of Yooz, I mentioned this earlier, if you need help with your purchase request, purchase orders, we have a nice little button over here that we can activate where you can come in, create that purchase request, and have it go through a process, automatically send it to your vendors, receive against it or not. It's really up to your business and your organization. And so, but from there, let's start here in my to-do list. So now imagine having that invoice automatically come in and there's a PO in the back. So it automatically matched from that PO sitting in the back. So let's click and let's take a quick look at it from there. And so what we'll see here is that our AI and smart data extractions reading each page, putting on their invoice date, invoice number, putting it over here to the header fields to the left. So when I select my document box over here to the left, to the far right of the page, we'll see it read in red and yellow, which is pretty cool. So it's picking up reading it, which is nice, just like how we read invoice. If I use my tab key, my keyboard, we can now tap through. So now it's jumping invoice number at the bottom, our due date here at the top, total amount. It picked up and read my taxes. I also read my total amount here too as well. It pulled in our lines on that PO and matched to our PO that was in the back from our invoice. And so we'll see here that we have a quantity, but when we created the PO, say we created it without taxes. So in this case, super simple to do. We have your tax codes in the back. Also, the great thing about taxes with Yooz, if you're HST, PST, QST, all the lovely taxes in Canada are on that invoice, Yooz will pick those up and read those taxes for you automatically, which is nice. So in this case, I'm just going to click exempt. Keep it simple. And then I'm going to say that my tax amount is a 759. We have a cool feature where I can click this, populates in my tax field box. I'll just hit enter and then gives me a total balance here at the bottom, which is nice. So the great thing about Yooz and all the integrations we have with over 250 ERPs is that your information from your ERP will be in the back of Yooz. So your vendors, your GLs, your cost dimensions, all that fun stuff is in the back. So you can always make an adjustment in any of these dimension lines at any time. And like I mentioned earlier about budgets, so here's a budget that we have over here. So if you go with Yooz budgets, you can see our budget period. You can really create whatever type of budget period you would like, along with those different types of budgets. And so we can see different types of budgets, materials, cost of goods, marketing, sales, services, etc. And then here at the top, we have a budget tracker. And so from there, you can click, and this is where you can see that real-time data, Steve, like we had mentioned, and everybody else in the call, that when I click on that budget tracker, it takes me to my actual where that budget is, my initial amount, what's been committed against it, invoiced, remaining, and what's been achieved percentage-wise as well. So, and this is real time, which is really nice, especially for the team to see when we're going over budget or not from there. So we'll come back to my document, and then everything here looks good. We'll just come up, we'll hit submit. So inside of Yooz, if you have an approval, great. If you don't, that's also fine too as well. In this case, everything for my purchase requests, purchase orders that match to an invoice goes to my manager, Amelia, for approval. So you'll see that box there. Type in any comments. Also, everything inside of Yooz has an audit trail. So everything from time, date, in person, all the way to when it came in has an audit trail inside of Yooz, which is nice. I will quickly show this one. This one, if you're splitting between different accounts, we can use that click and recon. So we can actually use also or a highlight tool. So I can click at the top, it'll populate in that box. But say, hey, all these numbers, we just need to divide these between all those accounts. We'll just divide by 3. When I highlighted it, it pulled in all those numbers, automatically did the math for me. So if I come back to here, we'll just hit divide by that total amount by 3. we'll say all lines, yes. So now, and within seconds, it automatically split that between 3 different lines, giving us a total here. I don't have sales tax, so what I'm going to do really quickly is just say exempt again here, and then bring this on down, copy all lines as well. So then we see a balanced 2400. And this system memorized, hey, it went to 3 different accounts, maybe 3 different divisions or departments. It's, system really is there and intuitive too as well. And so you can always make a change if you need to on any of the lines, because all your stuff, all your cost centers will be in the back of Yooz. So in this case, we'll just hit submit, push this on out, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So what I'm going to do is quickly jump over. I'm going to just skip this one, and I want to jump to 2 more, and then we'll kind of get close to wrapping up here fairly quickly. That one is in French. Our system does read French invoices and Spanish too as well. And so I wanted to point this one out because this is part of our Yooz fraud protection. So this document, when it came in to the top left, it says, hey, a duplicate document has been found. And then also this invoice is significantly higher than normal. So the system is picking that up. It's saying, hey, there's a duplicate. We can view that document. And then we can also see, so let's do that real quick. Let's actually view it. Pull this on down. So right here, we'll see that our invoice numbers are the same. We'll cross-reference the invoice that just came in. Our due dates are different, but then look at this. Our amount is normally around 600 bucks, and this one came in for 3,600. So it's $3 grand different, saying it's alarming you, like, hey, just want to let you know, here's what's going on. Inside of Yooz, you can have your vendors. So we have unlimited users inside of Yooz. That's kind of a tongue twister, but you can have your vendors in the back of Yooz. We have a vendor portal where they can see this. You can communicate with them really quickly and just ask them a question, and then they can respond back to you as well. So we'll actually ask the vendor a question, and you can communicate with anybody who is using Yooz as well. So when I do that, the vendor will then get notification from there. And then once again, here's part of that timeline. So they can see the customer's name, the date and time from there as well. So you can actually put this in a blocked queue, block this document, and hold it into a blocked queue from there. And so what I want to do is show our newest feature. This one is awesome. So if you're using vendor, if you have statements that come in, imagine it reading that statement and actually reading all the invoices in 30 to 40 seconds and matching to them automatically. And so when this vendor statement came in, as we can see, invoice numbers over here, it actually read our invoice numbers. We'll see to the far left. Let's come on over, start with the top one. Here it's saying, hey, what's on the statement, and then what's on the document, and then it tells you if it matched or not. And so if I scroll all the way down, we see we have some good matching, but then look, we have an X. So then we can see where it's at in that approval, if it's been paid, if for some reason, like I just mentioned, that blocked queue, if that is there. So really helping out the team if you're using statements as well. So just a really cool function. You will only see that piece, vendor statements, at Yooz. Nobody else is doing vendor statements and matching to lines. Also, you can also click on that invoice and it'll take you directly to that invoice from there, which is super nice. I'm going to point out a few things on the actual other side. Steve, you there? I saw you come off mute. How are we doing on time?
No, I love that feature though. That's very cool.
Yeah, we've seen, so a little quick ROI on that. We had a client of ours test this. They were getting, I forgot the amount of invoices or statements they were getting, but they were doing, I think it was 4 hours or 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours a day. And it went for the week. So we'll just say 4 times 5, we'll say 20 hours. And it went from 20 hours down to 3 hours for the whole week for all their statements. So that's a pretty big ROI right there if we're talking about one. So on the approvers, you can have people approve. You can restrict them if you don't want them to see certain GLs or certain call centers. We can really restrict them as well. Inside of Yooz, we also have, and if you're an admin, you can look at statistics. So this gives a live feed. This is one of our clients all the way down, which is really nice. So you can see, where you're at last year, where you're tracking for the year, total amount of documents, total dollar amount, all the way down, which is nice. Just good visibility throughout. And there's also a lot we can do more if you're using a BI tool as well. And then inside here at the top is our search. So super powerful. Everybody here probably uses some type of Google. So imagine having Google for your AP, right? And you can type in a word. Um, you can type in any word. We'll say drum. Imagine pulling everything associated with that particular word. So I typed in drum. It pulled this right here, this invoice. When we click on it and we look at it, out of all the, we'll wait for this page to pop up. There we go. And now imagine out of all the words on this page, it pulled drum from right here. So super powerful. You could actually create, we'll go back to the search, we'll jump in. You can create saved reports right here. And so you can actually save these and share these. So if I want to click on one of these, it take me right in. I'll actually click on one real quick. Look at everything that's in progress. We can group this by people or group it by due date, group it by whatever you're thinking to as well from there. So we'll just say people, where things are at from there. Also inside of Yooz, I know we're kind of limited on time. You can also make payments too as well. And inside that payment, you can see what's pending for payment, what's been paid, and what has already been completed as well. So if you're in Canada, we do EFTs and checks. For the United States, ACH check, and also virtual credit card as well. But this is a cool thing. It just kind of shows you where everything is at. Also, we can see our alerts if things are late. Let the system notify your people and kind of help you out. So we can mark things as late. We can notify them. We can escalate things as well. If you want to create a report from here, we can do that right here. This is a standard feature inside of Yooz. You click this report feature, name it, and then you can select you want header fields, line level detail, exported documents, etc. Kind of filter that out to whatever you're wanting to do. Yooz being user intuitive, you can start typing in what are you thinking, due dates, things around that line, select it from there. Once you hit OK, it's going to create a report. Here's an example of our Yooz reports, super powerful tool, but super helpful as well. So now imagine this being an Excel document. And instead of logging back into Yooz, look at this report, there's a box over here. You'll just hit refresh and automatically refresh all the information that's inside of Yooz, inside this Excel report. And this gives you live real-time data at your fingertips for you to look at, right? Average processing time by suppliers. Why are some suppliers quicker than the other? Where are we at overall as a company? Where's our projects look like from 24 to 23? So just real-time data right there at your fingertips, which is really nice from there. And then the great thing about Yooz is dedicated implementation, dedicated support. You also have dedicated BAS too as well. So you can contact us and connect with us at any time, which is nice. And then we also have a live chat too as well. So if you can't get a hold of your dedicated rep in that second, you can always just chat too as well. And then all messages are saved and we can see I talked to reps recently. So it's right there for you at your fingertips. But for the most part that I can think of, that is it with Yooz. A lot new features coming out this year, and excited to share that later down the line with Bass and everybody else. Thank you again, Steve, for having us.
Fantastic. Yeah, a lot of great features there, Jonathan. I know we're really only just kind of scratching the surface of things. Um, I think now, we've got a little bit of time left just for questions. To see there is one question that came in here regarding non-for-profit organizations, whether we have a HST or a harmonized sales tax. So is Yooz able to work with that? Are you able to break out parts of that NFPs might be able to reclaim?
Correct. Like non-recoverables, rebates, things like that. Absolutely. And so in back of that, where I kept hitting exempt, is where that will have those rebates, non-recoverables for whatever HSPS, GST that you're needing, that you have. So definitely not a problem for use. Great
Okay,
question,
great.
whoever asked that.
Yeah. So, oh, it's an interesting one. How does use API automation help with audit preparation and compliance?
Yeah,
I don't know if you
so
guys get involved in that.
so we can give your auditors what's called a view only access, since we have um, unlimited users. You can give them an access and they can just pull reports, audit reports, and then in the back of Yooz, that history is back there. So they see when it came in, when it got exported to their ERP, who approved it. Just a really nice audit trail as well. And
Yeah.
so,
Because
oh, sorry, keep going.
no, no, please go finish.
Yeah, and so and then also with compliance and a bunch of other things too as well. Obviously we're talking with your ERP, and so like an instance Sage Intact, I know there's a compliance module in there, and so that vendor information comes over, and then if it doesn't come in, sorry, if a new vendor comes in, there's a lot of audit, not audit, but compliance stuff that pops up with Use with the fraud protect, saying, hey, this is new, what's going on, and then there's a lot more you can check into, and happy to talk to anybody out offline outside of this, as well. So,
Yeah, fantastic. There was just a follow-up to the not-for-profit question there. So it looks like there'd be four different codes involved in splitting
mhm.
and assigning that. So I mean, that's definitely something I'm sure, if we could schedule another demo probably offline and really kind of dig into that to make sure that everything gets solved there.
Yep.
I
And
guess
we work
one
good
other,
with non-profits too as well, as you know, Steve. We have quite a
yeah,
few non-for-profits that work with Use, and so, but yeah, happy to talk that offline, talk about that offline, and show the capabilities of Use, and talk through what you're going through and how we can help.
yeah, absolutely. I guess one other question here is used similar to bills.com.
Oh,
Don't know if
great,
you're
great
how
question.
familiar you are with some of the competitors, but yeah,
Fairly familiar. I've ran across them a few times. So we're a little different from Bill. Bill's a great company. They do some things different than us, and so we're more full to full, but full to full P2P, right? So purchase to pay. So you can purchase requests all the way to payment, workflows in the middle. Um, with us, if you don't need help with payments, that's great. We can just you don't have to use for payments. I don't know, with Bill you have to, and they also charge um, per user. With us, we don't have per user, and then also our growth is great. Plus dedicated support too as well, which you don't get from a lot of other um, I have not heard from a lot of other companies or competitors that, say they use with us. It's dedicated implementation. You have their name, phone number, email. Same with support, name, phone number, email. You always have me as well. So we're a little different in ways, but um,
yeah,
and
that's
plus
great.
we have a lot more
Um,
AI versus the bots. So
yeah, that is the way the world is going.
yep.
Yeah, along those lines of competition, there's one other question here about other apps similar to use that are compatible with Sage Intacct. I'd invite people, I mean, take a look at the Sage Intacct marketplace. If you Google that, you should come up with a link to it. You can go, you can see the other solutions that are um, integrated with Intacct. I will say, if you are looking at that space, do pay attention to the country of origin or where that system works, because a lot of the times, they will say they're available in US or South Africa, not always Canada. So I would caution you to kind of pay attention to where the solution is localized to. I know not everyone like Yooz works throughout North America, so pay attention to that. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to your business consultant. They'd be able to help you with that.
Yeah. And then also
So
with Intact, like I mentioned earlier, we great integration with them, and then also we send over the images of the invoice, audit trail, and any comments too as well. So it's right there at their fingertips.
yeah, there's a question here just about the payment processing. So
Yeah.
if someone was using another third party to do EFT transfers, if they move to use, can you sort of take on that additional functionality as well?
If they want us to, yeah, absolutely. So we connect with their bank, and then pull those funds whenever the EFT, whenever they hit submit for payment inside of Use. And we'll talk with their bank if they want to kind of just use it for AP, make sure that's smooth. It's kind of back to that question earlier about, like, how instead of ripping off the band-aid, they still want to use their bank for the EFT, then they could just use I gotta stop saying that word, but use for just for the AP side, and then adopt maybe the payment piece later too as well. And also with a lot of Sage integrations that we have, we'll pull that payment remittance. So even if it's done inside of your bank or Sage, we can a lot of times pull that information to update inside of Use too as well, which is nice.
That's great. Yeah.
That
So
it's been
one,
paid.
yeah, fantastic. Okay. I don't see any other questions. So I'd just like to say, Jonathan, it's been incredibly insightful. Thanks for sharing your insights and the demo there of use. I think that's been fantastic and very educational. Yeah, love the new fraud prevention and the AI features that you've got built in there. Again, I'd invite the audience, check out Bass Connect. You can come, you can see Jonathan in person in Toronto. Learn more about the ERP solutions, what they can do for you, and kind of help streamline your business. If you do have any other questions, you can visit us at bass.com. You can send an email to marketing@bass.com or reach out to your Bass business consultant. They'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions that you have. So, with that, Jonathan, thank you for spending some time with us, and thanks everyone for joining today.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Thanks, Bass, for having us too as well. Always fun. So
Always a pleasure. Thanks everyone.
everyone
Have
have
a
a great
great
one.
rest of your day.